Soon after we agreed upon that, Peter Newland called me, and it was February, and he said he had broken up his old band, Fat, and wanted to learn how to be a single act. He needed to get away from all that rock and roll business for a while and wanted to travel with me for a couple of months. I said, "Where do I pick you up?" I had a gig in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and we made arrangements to meet at the airport. He flew in with a guitar and a Fender amp and a suitcase that weighed 100 pounds. He had another suitcase full of clothes and was grinning from ear to ear, and I said, "Well, son, get in with old Paul here and let's travel." He got in my new Plymouth Voyager minivan that Debbie had signed for and said, "Where are we going, Paul?" I said, "Down the road, boy." We laughed and pulled out of the airport, and the scallywag had finally broke down, and I had parked it in Debbie's mother's cornfield. The new Plymouth Voyager was small and inexpensive to drive. I was on the road full time and needed a faster, more efficient mode of travel. I had no credit, and Debbie did. I made the payments, and it was in her name. It had a great tape deck and a radio system in it. It was a pleasure to drive, although I preferred to be up higher over the road. Peter and I sang the first night in Harrisburg and had a ball. We took off for a college show for a fraternity in South Carolina in the middle of the night, drunk and listening to a bunch of Gordon Lightfoot tapes that Peter had brought with him. We drove all night and were in Charlotte, North Carolina by noon the next day, tired and hungry. Newland was great company and a fine musician, so we had the road by the ass. We were both trying to lose some weight and started jogging. Well, I trotted very slowly and Peter ran. We stayed away from heavy food except for Friday and Saturday nights. That's when we ate steak and potatoes and drank. The rest of the week we ran and ate salad and soup and drank juice. We had more energy than the law allows. In no time at all, we were lean, mean, singing machines, and Newland was a fine road partner, and we were very close in beliefs and dreams. In the first month, we were in Pennsylvania, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, and back to Pennsylvania. We played colleges, bars, restaurants, living rooms, and of course, Seven Springs Ski Resort. I had booked a lot of work since my first show at Seven Springs. My trip to the South had proven to be very fruitful, and the recording session at EB's in April was going to happen on time. Peter had met E.B. Hawkins and Annie on one of our trips through eastern Pennsylvania, and he decided to lend a hand on the album. Mountain John was with a rock and roll twist. Oh, God, what a hoot this would be. Born to be a Rambler had been Nashville country. This new album would be a rock folk country flavor, and I was very excited. Newland had to make a trip north to New England for a week to take care of some business, and I put him on a bus with his 100-pound Fender amp suitcase and his rock and roll guitar, and made plans to meet up with him at EB's the 1st of April. Once again, I had to figure out where the money would come from for the studio session. I knew it was going to cost about $5,000 to do it this time. I landed a week at Seven Springs for $150 a night, and that would help. At wit's end, I called my old friend in Nag's Head again. Once again, he never even stuttered as he asked me where to send the money. I said, "Send it to Debbie," and he did. The session was set, and we had 2 weeks, not 22 hours, to record the second album. E.B. was ready, and so was I. By this time, I was running 4 miles every day, and I was fit and feeling good. Peter and I would be living above E.B.'s garage studio the whole time, and E.B. would be recording day and night. Peter came back to Chadds Ford, and I came back from Seven Springs, Virginia Beach, and Richmond, and the recording started. Chadds Ford was right between Philadelphia and Baltimore on the National Pike Highway. Brandywine Museum and the Battle of Brandywine which was a famous decisive battle in the Revolutionary War, was right next to E.B.'s and Annie's little farm. Debbie was in school at Philly, and her mother's farm is an hour and a half south, just north of Baltimore. Chadds Ford was exactly halfway between Vermont and South Carolina, so it would be a good place to go and do shows when we needed more money for the project. The project took 10 days instead of 14. The album got a title right there, 10 Days in April. Everyone was happy with the album. Peter, E.B. Hawkins, myself, and Debbie. I always felt we should have gotten a record deal from this album, but we didn't. May came, and Newland went back home. Debbie got out of school and went back to her mother's to ride horses, and I stayed on the road. It was a rough summer, and lots of things happened, but I kept going. By fall, Debbie and I had no idea of shooting a video of one of the songs, but we had discussed it, and we'd talked about it and played around with it. I had a song about an old outlaw running from his past. How the hell could we do this with no money? My college freshman roommate, David Cupp, was living in Charlottesville, Virginia, and was the anchor man for the local TV station. I called him and said, "Hey, Dave, do you have any idea how I could shoot a music video of a song that I wrote?" He said, "Let me think about that and get back to you."